You have zero print on demand sales because you're missing two key things: focus and skill. If you're trying to do every side hustle under the sun, it's no surprise that nothing is paying off, especially when it comes to print on demand. I get it. It's easy to be bouncing from drop shipping to affiliate marketing to freelancing, always chasing the next easy win. But this is probably keeping you at zero. And here's the truth. No side hustle is magically easy. To get print on demand sales, you have to pick one path, master the right skill, and commit long enough to see real results. That's why in this video, I'm going to share 5 things that you can focus on with print on demand to help you go from zero to making your first sales. Now, the first thing that you can focus on is not overcomplicating the business model. I see many beginners really try to test the waters in many different areas. They'll try selling on Amazon, they'll add listings to Etsy, they'll open up a Shopify store, they'll try TikTok Shop, and they try just doing all 4 of these at once, thinking, oh, if I go across all these different sales channels, then the likelihood of me getting sales is going to increase. When in fact, it's quite the opposite. So many of these different sales channels work very differently from each other. So Etsy listings are going to be very different from Amazon listings. Amazon listings are going to be very different from TikTok. And the way that you are trying to market your product across these different channels is extremely different as well. Think about TikTok. TikTok, you have to be pretty good at making content. You have to be making videos that will potentially go viral. You really have to have a creative mind. Whereas Amazon and Etsy work more with SEO and learning tags and descriptions and really trying to get creative with your words. And then you have Shopify, where we will send a lot of our traffic from Facebook ads. So every channel is very different in the way, 1, that they function, and 2, how we market them. So overcomplicating it by saying, I'm just going to do all 4 is going to lead you down a hole to really never getting sales. We need to focus on one channel, just like we really need to focus on one side hustle. If we're focusing, we're then going to be gaining that skill in one area and focusing on one area. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm biased. I'm going to say that Shopify print on demand with Facebook marketing is going to be the best way to do print on demand. And that's because over the last 5 years, I've focused on Shopify print on demand, which has allowed me to build my skill and in return have done over $7 million in sales over the last 5 years. Now, I probably would not have had that success if I had split my focus among 4 different channels. So that's going to be the first thing that you're going to focus on. You are not going to overcomplicate the business model. You're going to pick one thing and then you're going to stick to it. You're going to give it a decent amount of time. We're not going to just give it 3 days and say, oh, it doesn't work. No, we're going to focus on it. We're going to dig deep. We're going to learn about that sales channel, learn about the marketing, and then we are going to give it an actual try. Longer than a week, longer than 2 weeks. We're going to give it a decent amount of time until we kind of figure out exactly what that sales channel needs. So the second reason why you're probably not getting any sales is because you're not testing enough. In the case of Shopify print on demand, not testing enough is really having to do with the ads or the amount of products that we have on our site. I always say you shouldn't be starting a store until you have at least 100 designs uploaded on your shop. This way, when we start running Facebook ads, Facebook has plenty to use and to test, and we're giving the market a lot to work with. This is why we want 100 designs across one niche in a bunch of different areas, a bunch of different styles, vibes, you name it, because then we're testing a lot more. And it's this continued testing that's going to lead us to data where we can then use that data to make better, smarter decisions about our brand. Now, testing doesn't always mean that we're going to have a ton of sales coming in, but if we can look at the clicks, the cost per clicks, the CPMs, that's going to be enough data for us to start making smart decisions about our brand. Now, this is very similar for Etsy and Amazon. If you look at the top Etsy and Amazon sellers, they have hundreds of thousands of designs. And that's because they are testing the same way that we're testing with Shopify. Their testing is just a little bit different. They have to keep adding listings to it, potentially doing SEO work, doing Etsy ads, etc. But they are constantly running tests because they're then looking at the data to make decisions off of it. So that's the second thing that we're going to focus on. We want to have plenty to test with. And this really comes down to the amount of designs, the amount of listings that we have. Now, the third thing that people with zero sales typically don't do is optimize for mobile. This is specifically important for Shopify sellers. Now, Etsy and Amazon, this is kind of out of your realm because it's Amazon and Etsy's job to maintain their site and make sure that it optimizes well for desktop as well as mobile. As far as Shopify goes, that's on us as a Shopify seller. Now, because we are sending the majority of our traffic from Facebook and Instagram ads, it is important that we are then optimizing for mobile because 80 to 90% of our traffic is coming from the Facebook and Instagram app, which people are scrolling on their phones. So what we want to do is after we've gone through making our entire site, we want to then look at it on mobile. And you can do this on your phone or you can do this on Shopify. Just look at the mobile area. And we want to make sure that it is a seamless buying process for those individuals when they come to our site. And this is something that if it's not optimized for mobile, people just leave. So it's really important that we are looking at the spacing on mobile. We're looking at above the fold. So when somebody first comes to our site, what do they see just on that screen before they even have to scroll? Is there anything that's blocking our call to action buttons? Are our call to action buttons too small? Do we need to increase the size of the text? These are all really important things that we need to think about as Shopify sellers. And if you're not thinking about this, chances are your site is not optimized for mobile and people are just leaving even when they get to your site. So this would be the third thing that people who have zero sales with print on demand, this is probably something that's keeping you back from getting those sales. Now, the fourth reason why people probably have zero sales on their print on demand store is because they're not looking at the data. Data is the most powerful tool that we have across any channel that you're selling on, whether that's Etsy, Amazon, Shopify, you name it. Every single site is going to give you analytics. And you want to be looking at that data and breaking apart that data to then find other best sellers and use that data to help you. So as far as Shopify goes, we have Shopify Analytics, which is going to tell us pretty much everything we need to know about our site and any areas that we need to optimize. So we would be looking at our add to cart rate, our initiate checkout rate, as well as our conversion rate. So really, what is the percentage of people who come to our site and then check out? We want that to be somewhere between 3 to 6%. If you can get it to 6%, like you're killing it. I would say most stores, we tend to see people more in the 3 to 4% range, which is completely fine. That's what our store currently sits at. It's right around 3%. We use that data to determine, are there any changes that we need to be making to our site? Now, beyond that, beyond looking at optimization stuff, Facebook will also give you analytics and data to look at. So we will look specifically at the number of clicks and the cost per click. So we want our traffic to be as cheap as possible. So our goal is to get it between 50 to 75 cent cost per link clicks. And when we have creatives, we have designs that are getting those link clicks, we can then break apart that design to continue to add to our site and get more designs that are similar like that, because the fact that should keep our ads fresh, should keep people clicking, it should keep getting people to our site for really cheap. So we are constantly looking at this data and making decisions based off of this data. I can make decisions blind and just say, I like this about a brand and oh, I saw that on a website, I want to include that in mine. And yes, I could do that, but if I'm not basing it off of anything data driven, there's really no reason for me to do it because it could just be hurting me at the end of the day. Like a site that I like is not the site that my store looks like whatsoever. But the store that I have right now, it converts well. So I'm going to just do what the data is telling me that people like. And I'm going to keep doing more of it because if people like it and you do more of it, it should lead to more sales. Now, the fifth thing that people who have zero sales typically are doing is they are letting perfection delay their progress. So what do I mean by this? When we are so focused on, it could be you're stuck in the design phase or even the research phase. I see a lot of people get stuck in the research phase because they just don't know, is my niche a good niche? Is it viable? Is there enough research there? And they just go in circles in their mind and they're unsure. It's almost like they paralyze themselves from being able to take that next step forward. And really, it is the people who can, one, do quality research. They know that there are decent designs in that niche, that there's people who want to buy designs in that niche, to then quickly getting 100 designs uploaded to their store and then being able to look at the data and not get their feelings hurt if the data is not telling them the stuff that they want to know, but they are then looking at the data, analyzing it, taking what the market said, and then making changes immediately. Those are the people who are going to find success in print on demand faster than anybody else. And it is because the fact they are not letting perfect or perfection. You can always go back and redo a design at the end of the day. Like if there's one design that is really holding you up, come back to it. or maybe get a design to 80%. You're like, you know what? It's 80%. I like it. It's good enough. Put it on your site. And if that is a design that's getting good cost per clicks, then you go back and you tweak it and you make it 100%. But our goal is to practice designing. And when we're making 100 different designs, we are practicing our design skill and getting better at it every single time. You'll see your first 10, you'll look back and go, I can't believe I designed that. That sucks. And then you'll look at your 90 to 100 designs, the last 10 that you did, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's like a night and day difference. And that's because we are practicing something. The more that we're practicing it, it's the same as soccer. It's the same as violin. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. And it is those people who quickly get through that phase, get them on their site, and then market them as quickly as possible and look at that data. And now I'm not saying that they are just throwing money out the window. They are controlling their testing. They're putting a certain amount into the ads, then turning the ads off, and then looking at that breakdown, looking at that data, and then making decisions off of it and quickly making those changes that the market is telling them. Those are the people who are going to get out of zero sales, go from zero to sales faster than anybody else, hands down. Now, if you want a much more detailed walkthrough going through everything that we know about Shopify Print on Demand, this here is our full 31-hour course. Yes, it is completely free. Our free 31-hour print on demand course. It walks you through your journey, taking you from foundations, building the right mindset, all the way to $1 million+ in sales and scaling. And if you are looking for a free community of other individuals who are print on demand sellers and beginners, maybe just like you, then please click the link in the description below. That'll take you to our free school community. Yes, it is completely free. This is where we host our course as well as have free resources. You can get support from others in the community. It's a great place. After watching this video, you will see that success in print on demand isn't luck. It's all about strategy and execution. And if you want proof of this, watch my next video of how I sold 1,800+ t-shirts in 30 days to prove that it's not luck. Thanks for watching.